Alright boys, welcome back to another video with the second AD. I'm Koga, I am the media manager, and I'll be creating a new series on the channel called kind of like the guides that we had, but this can be a guides for every single role. And I did a community poll on the YouTube channel asking what role I would you guys would like to see most, and most people voted for the officer role. And that's kind of where I wanted to start. So we're gonna go everything the officer should be knowing. The positioning, the OPs, the garrisons, the priorities, what should you do, what kind of squad should you have, how should you position yourself, stuff like that. So first, let's go over the classes. On the United States, you have the standard issue, the point man, and the NCO. Standard issue is the Thompson, which is a alright gun, but that's the first gun you get, and typically it's not the best, but you know, everybody has its likings. So Thompson is most likely used in the close range to medium range. So if you're past 100 meters and you're not experienced, it will be, well, let's just say hard to kill people, if you know what I mean. Then you have the point man, which is the carbine, which is it's a rifle, but at long range, it's around 2 shots. So unless you land a headshot, you will need to 2-shot a person to kill him. And at short range, within about 30 meters, it's a 1-shot. So it doesn't really matter there, but it's all right, you know. It could be used long range, it could be used short range, medium. Short range and medium is kind of where it's best at, because it can shoot very fast. It has basically no reload in between bullets. It has 12 rounds. 12 bullets in a round. So it's all right for the officer class. And then obviously you have the M1 Grant, one of the best weapons in the game, if not the best weapon in the game. For me, it's probably the best weapon in the game. And then there goes the Gewehr for the Germans, but this one is the best weapon for me. Has 19 rounds, and it's pretty fucking sick. Long range, short range, medium range does not matter where you hit him. The enemy will go down instantly unless you're at 200 plus meters and you hit someone in the feet. You will have to hit him twice, but if you hit him in the upper body or head, you will kill him instantly. There's basically no reload between bullets, probably like a 0.2 seconds, so it's a very Excel kind of gun. And in the US, I'm pretty sure about every single role has this. So rifleman, assault doesn't, but you know, that's assault. Medics have the carbine, support has it, anti-tank has it for 2 of them, and engineer doesn't. But it's a pretty good, actually a very good gun. Then you have about 3 grenades, which is pretty awesome because most roles only get 2 grenades. And if you're the level 6 officer, you get 3 grenades, which is pretty good. Then you get 2 smokes. Oh, 3 smokes actually. Correct me on that note, 3 smokes. 2 bandages, a watch. What is a watch? A watch is a tool that is used to build garrisons and OPs. OPs is where your squad and your squad only can spawn on it. There's a 90-second cooldown timer on it. And then the garrison is a big kind of outpost, a lot bigger of an outpost, but everybody can spawn on it unless it goes dark red, which means it's locked out by an enemy who is next to it within 10 meters. Depends on the zones if it's blue or red. Binoculars, you know, are binoculars. You could, you know, zoom in, see shit. And the knife is a knife. It could be, it's only used for melee damage. So if you're close to an enemy and you want to, you know, knife them, if you want to be sneaky, then you could do that. But then you have obviously appearances, which is a bunch of hats, faces, uniform. I usually like to switch my uniform. Obviously, if I am on a map where there is a snow, then I would like to go in snow gear. If there isn't, then I will, give me a second, y'all. I'm back, sorry. That was a person that was trying to join and I forgot to lock the password on the server, so hopefully nobody else joins because I don't really want to restart. But once it's snow maps, I would obviously like to go and put on snow gear, which is accessible to all roles at any level. And then once you get level 5, you get a cool looking cape, which I like to run most of the time, but nowadays I just like to run this gear because it's kind of green, and most maps have a lot of green in it, so it's kind of easier to hide. So for this sake of the video, it doesn't really matter what I put on, so I'm just going to go with the cape. And yeah, so your spawn points are obviously going to look a lot different, but the first spawn points you would get is these, so it's the HQs. Most likely what I like to do, how I like to play officer, I'm going to talk about in the game how I like to play officer, but I'm going to discuss all the different positioning you can have as well. So let's say we have hospice, so I would personally spawn at the top, which I am going to do. The HQ always has a 10-second spawn timer, so kind of keep in mind that is a very good spawn timer. At any given time, the HQ will always have a 10-second spawn timer. So this is a one-person thing, but once you have a full group, and the match already has started, obviously, but at the start of the game, there's about 2 minutes until the map opens up. Until then, there's a red bar about in the middle of the first to second degree sectors, and you have to wait. Personally, what I like to do, you have a countdown timer in front of you all the time that shows you how many minutes or seconds is left until the game opens up fully. So what I like to do is wait until around 45 seconds in the pub matches and around 1 minute and 30 seconds or 1 minute and 45 seconds in the comp matches. But if we talk about pubs, it doesn't really matter. I wait around a minute to 45 seconds remaining, and then I go. Once I'm waiting, this is kind of a thing that most people know, but the new players don't know this. You want to hold W, and you want to hold space. As you can see at the bottom left, you can see my gear going up to number 5. So now that I'm ready, I wait for another 30 seconds. Everybody hops in. I let go of my spacebar. And as you can see, I go all the way up to the 5th gear of the speed. So the max speed is 34 or 32. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's 34 here. But yeah, and that just gives you a boost kind of on when you're going somewhere. So we're gonna talk about since we are here, we're gonna talk about defenses first. So we're gonna go to cemeteries since it is the defense point. So 4th point is most likely the defense point for every sector. So if it's offensive or warfare, 4th point is gonna be the one that's gonna be reinforced. What is reinforce? Reinforce is basically when people like build the shit out of the point. So they put barricades, they put barbed wires, they put a bunch of stuff for the enemy, basically for the enemy to make it a lot harder for them to get past it. It mostly happens in offensive because offensive is 30 minutes and they move on to the next point. So people just build the shit out of 3rd or 4th point depending what point it is. But yeah, once you have a squad yourself, you want to have a support 100%, but support can drop supplies, either being 50 supplies as normal for you to build garrisons, or even having explosive ammo or just ammo drops. That's really important. Then you most likely want to have an AT as well. AT support is the most kind of beneficial roles in the squad. Also, make sure you guys turn off your engine once you come so it doesn't make as much noise and people don't find your truck, because people can blow up the truck very easily, either with a machine gun, a satchel, or an AT gun. Also, another key thing, as you guys go into a vehicle, that's the way you're going to exit it. So as you can see, if I go into it standing up, I will exit it standing up. So the best thing you want to do is before you get into the vehicle, you want to prone. Because you will exit the vehicle proned, and once you're prone, obviously you're the lowest to the ground and people can't really see you. So if you're getting shot at from that direction and people are starting to shoot at you and you have to hop out because you're in the open field, you want to get out, but you'll be prone. So you'll be kind of either behind the truck or you'll be in the grass, and you will not be seen as easily, and you can kill the enemy and have an advantage on them. Okay? So once you are in cemetery, how would you want to set up? So this is if you're playing defense, if you're a designated defense squad on comp, or publics, it doesn't really matter. There's a big difference between comp and public matches, but it kind of works around the same sector wise. So I would like to set up, it depends if I don't really play defense myself, but I would assume if you would play defense, you would place your OP around the cemetery, either in the offensive quarter or more in the defense quarter. So let's say I am here and I want to place my OP. Where would I go? It depends. If the enemies are around here and they're pushing on this side, I would want to pop my OP somewhere, maybe in a field or maybe in some kind of bush or in some corner. So let's say they're coming from up there. I need to place my OP ASAP because the garrisons are locked out or in a bad position. Well, for that in mind, I will probably go into this bush right here, into this area which is kind of closed off, and prop my OP right here. Kind of doesn't give it away, but if the enemy does come close to it on this hedge, he will destroy it, but but that gives me a fair advantage of people spawning in. They can see over this hedge and they can see this whole entire area. So if the enemies are coming from this area, I will be able to see when I'll have an advantage. Then if they're going to the open field, I have the peek and I would kill them. And also, it's not that far run to cemetery. And as you can see, this will be the cemetery circle right here. And all I have to do is either cross through there or cross through here. And I'll have the advantage to come to cemetery first because I'll be in the backside. If you're offensive and you've already pushed it back, I would possibly put my OP somewhere around this sector of the line, or I would push a lot further down somehow and get behind there. And then there's a house. It's on the house. Where's the house? The house is right there. That's a really good house, and you prop the house up and you prop the OP up there. So, what are your priorities as a squad leader? Squad leader priorities, the number one priority and the number one key thing I see noob players and noobs and new players. Doesn't matter, guys. If you're called a noob, you're just a new player. That's in every game. Don't get butthurt about it. It is what it is. You'll get better if you keep playing. Like, I'm still now, I'm level 140 when I'm creating these videos. So, I'm still considered a medium player, I guess, of my knowledge. But if you're offensive squad, I'd consider yourself to move around this hedge right here and go all the way around, because it will take you some time, but it will give you the best positioning ever. Let's say your team is defending pretty well, but you don't have any offensive squads, and the command chat where the commander tells you to move up. You listen to him, and you move up. You most likely don't want to move up front door, because that is a front door offensive squad. You are a recon offensive squad. What is that? You're going to go around and you're going to prop your OP either in here because you want to be further back and they're pushing from all around the side and you don't want your OP to be found like super fast, or you don't want your OP to be found at all. You would probably prop it around here or around here so enemies won't go as far back because they just, won't care. They just want to attack and stuff. If you are playing like me and you want to kind of play a bit more aggressive, I'm gonna kind of tell you guys, officers and commanders, well, commanders can't really do this, but only officers, spotters, anybody has a watch except for the commander because he can't place OPs, can go into these 3-story buildings that I've talked about in my advanced guide, and prop the OP in the 3rd-story floor. So you're in here, boom, prop your OP. The positive thing, there's cons and pros to this. The pros are, when people spawn, they will only spawn this 3rd-story building, and they already have an advantage of height, and they could see a lot more. And then obviously if they know how to do this window jump, they can obviously come here and do this window jump. This is called one of the best lonely houses on church, because you have this cemetery right there. People are most likely going to be pushing from this field, all around here, and you could see all of that. If you have an MG, you can obviously go up here, prop an MG right here, and you have an open field, and you'll guarantee yourself about 50 kills if they're pushing from this direction. The cons to this spot of placing your OP here is if an enemy runs right here, OP's gone. Enemy runs in here, OP's gone. They don't have to be on the 3rd-story building. They don't have to be in the 3rd story to destroy it. They just have to run by the house and the OP will go down. Okay? Okay. Garrison's placements. I probably could be wrong about this, but in my experience, Garrison placements are very important, and if you don't have any Garrys, you've kind of lost the game. If the enemy team has more Garrys than you, you've most likely lost the game. Because Garrys are a position to yourself, meaning you can attack and defend and scout from multiple positions. You don't have to keep running from the position where the enemy already is expecting you to come from. So Garrys are important. The team limit on Garrys is 8, so you cannot have more than 8 Garrisons. And commander can dismantle Garrisons either by spawning on them and just, holding F to dismantle them, or he has a commander ability that's called Dismantle Garrison, which costs 200. And it just dismantle Garrisons that he is, puts his cursor on. And obviously the commander does not always keep in touch on that, but that is his job. But if you're replacing a Garrison, you see team limit reached 8. All you have to do is press your button like this one, which will show your gamer tag as orange at the bottom, and you will see that you can ask the commander, hey, we are a team limit Garrison, and I'm sure he'll be more than welcome to dismantle a Garrison. Okay? Okay. Another thing, when you're placing garrisons, remember there's a kind of radius you have to go by. So once every 200 meters, you can place a garrison. Most likely, how you will learn this is you have placed the garrison, and then you go 100 meters away from it, and you try to place another one, and it will be a message, just like the team limit reached 8, but it will be a message saying there's a similar structure within 200 meters. That means there's a similar structure. Similar structure is the garrison, obviously, and that is within 200 meters of the one or the one you're trying to place. So remember that, and if you want to measure without like going back to it and counting. Let's say there's a garrison. Let's say my OP is the garrison. I will literally just put a ping on it, and you can see how far the ping is. The ping is 170 meters away, so meaning I have to run about 30 more meters in any direction to, obviously, then going back to it to place another garrison. So let's say I'm here. How far is the garrison? How far is the OP? Probably about 190. Okay, it's 216 already. So right here, I can already place another garrison. Okay. So garrisons are within 200 meters. You can place them. How do you want to set up garrisons? Let's say we have captured hospice. I would love to have a garrison in hospice or around it. And then I would love to have garrisons surrounding hospice. So I would want to have a garrison here. Make sure to put garrisons in blues, because if the enemy does capture the zone, the zones will go red here, this square, and square here. And obviously all the squares from 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 will go red. Just like with this point, the cemetery, if the enemy captures it, everything in this sector, so 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 will go red, and anything in the sector will get destroyed unless you're playing recon, and your OP will not go down. But the garrisons that are in the zone, the nodes in the zone, anything will go red. Obviously, you will not die, but you will have no spawn points. So, when placing defensive garrisons or garrisons that are behind the point, make sure to put him in the blue zone. So right here is a really good spot for a garrison, because it's in there's a little road here, which is surrounded by a hedge and another hedge right here. So this would be a good spot for a garrison. And then let's say each square is about 200 meters. So from this corner to this corner is 200 meters. From this corner to this corner is 200 meters. From this corner to this corner is 200 meters. So I would want a garrison right there in that corner. I would want a garrison around this area on this corner. I will have a garrison in this corner. And then I will most likely want to have more garrisons surrounding. So if you have control around all hospice, you would want to put a garrison up here. So this could be acting as an attacking garrison, or if they're coming from the middle here, you can obviously spawn on this garrison and push them down from here. So you would want to have a garrison up here. And then maybe at some point you would want to have a garrison in here or around here. Just so you have this whole entire section on lockdown. And you have the whole section on lockdown, meaning you have the full control of hospice, and you can freely move on to route. When moving on to route, you can either ask your commander to drop supplies at a designated point, or he will drop supplies for you, and you can place the garrison in the blue. Since you have this sector, you can place him over here. Once it's in the blue, it costs only 50 supplies to place a garrison, and you can place a garrison within 50 meters of the drop of the supplies. In here in the red, it costs 100 supplies, and the supply drop that commander drops is always 100. So the commander ability to drop supply drop is 100. The truck ability, when you're driving a supply truck, is 2 crates, and you can drop 150 supplies each crate. So it's 300 supplies, 150 each crate. Once your supply crate is over, you can always go back to HQ, and you have the 3 HQs, and there's a kind of looking like a weird stance that you go by, and it will refill your truck. Just like tanks, if you're in a tank and you're low on ammo, AP, HE, or regular shooting rounds, you can go back to HQ and it will refill you. And if you have a repair station, which is designated like this, it's a square with kind of a wrench and a little gear. I believe that is where you can repair your truck, your Jeep, and your tanks. You go by it and it repairs. It's a lot faster than a mechanic or a engineer repairing the truck or the tank. So that's how the garrisons goes. Garrisons have no restrictions on timers, but OPs do. So OPs have 90 seconds, and OPs can go in the red sectors and the blue sectors, especially in warfare. But they can obviously not go back here, but they can go all the way out here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just prop an OP. OPs are designated spots where it's kind of hard for enemies to go by, but it's not too far from your team to go somewhere. Unless you don't want your OP to be found at all and you just want to be like a spy. Most of the time when I do an infantry squad and I lead it, I most likely limit myself to about 4 people. And that is an AT, a support, and an engineer. You would want to have an engineer in your squad so they can build nodes if a commander asks for them, or engineers have satchels which can satchel tanks, buildings, stuff like that. So the roles I like to have in my squads is AT, engineer, and support. And if the engineer wants to switch to assault is always more than welcome, of course. How do we go about hospice and capturing points in offensive and warfare? Take about 2 minutes. So if you see the game's about to end and it's past 2 minute mark, you most likely won the game if you have 3 out of 5 points captured on warfare. On offensive, if it's 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and the enemy starts to capture, if they stop capturing, you win. And their manpower is the thing that goes down. So let's say they have 700 manpower, it goes down dramatically when it's past the timer, so it's kind of overtime, but the overtime cost is manpower. So once the manpower is over, they lost and you won. If they capture with the manpower and you lose, well, obviously you use they win. But in warfare, if it gets past the 2 minute mark of the game end and you have 3 out of 2 points and they still haven't started capturing, you won the game automatically. You can just go relax and let them try to capture. They won't win the game. Okay, so that's that. How do I play? I play very weirdly. I'm more of called a recon kind of person, like a recon infantry squad. That's how I play as an officer most of the time. I'm most likely, if you ever see me in games and I'm a squad leader, you would most likely see me placing my OPs very far from the point or right next to the point. Either I'm defending and they're right next to the point, or I'm attacking and I am like all the way out here and we're losing hospice. Why? Because I am most likely trying to get a garrison up there, or I'm just trying to move with my squad and scout this area out. It's most likely very good to have this. It's more of an attacking recon squad, which goes out of its own way and kind of does its own thing, especially if recon is actually not doing their job and taking out Garrys and enemies from the back and not taking out arty. It happens very often. Because most of the time, people come into this game, they want to learn the sniper role and the spotter role because it looks very cool, but they have no experience, so they're like, how do I play this shit? So they want to play, and then they end up getting yelled at and not learning much. But prop your OPs in designated locations where enemies won't really expect them, or they will expect them, so they won't really go there because they're like, hey, he won't put in that bush, right? Because that's like a very known spot. Like, I will check that 100%. So like, I don't think he put it in that bush, so I'm just gonna go 100 meters more and try to find it, but it was like 15 meters away from him. So it's kind of the play style that you want to do. So either it's a spot that's very known or not known at all. Really depends on what position you're in. I play like an infantry squad, like an infantry recon squad, so I'll have my OPs all the way down here. I have my OPs all the way down here, and make sure when you're running to place new OPs and new garrisons, you place your OPs as you go. They are called temporary OPs, meaning people don't really have to spawn them, but if I die, I have somewhere to spawn. But let's say you don't place an OP and you die, you either got to go to a garrison all the way to hospice, or you got to go all the way to your HQ because the point still hasn't been capped. Another thing to learn, once this area is gray, and you place your garrison, never place a garrison in the gray zone unless you're playing comp matches and pub matches. Never place a garrison in the gray zone because if the enemy caps the point, your garrisons will erase. So will your OPs. But if you cap the point and it becomes blue, obviously the garrison and the OPs stay there. So you're taking a 50-50 chance at the start of the game by placing your OPs in the gray and or garrisons in the gray. You're taking a very, very bad choice because OP is OP. OPs are fine. It's whatever. But garrisons are, a lot more valuable than OPs in most scenarios. Also, officers and spotters, please, 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 if you ever do watch this video, your #1 priority is to supply your squad with what they need to do. Tell them what role to play. You are like the commander for your squad. You are in charge of your squad. And please, your number one priority is to place OPs as you go. I don't care if you have 20 enemies around you and you want to get a 20 kill streak. If you do not place the LP, you will get fucked by your squad. It's like, where the fuck is my OP? And you're gonna be like, hey man, I'm in a fight, I'm trying to place it. But no, your number one priority is to place the OP and place the garrisons if the supplies are dropped. If you get supplies dropped, defend those supplies and place the Garry. If there's enemies around, defend that Garry as much as you can so it doesn't get taken out, so you can get at least one wave off of like 20 people, and then they can help you out and you can wipe that area. Obviously, if you have 5 people on you, deal with them first if you can. If you can't, oh well, it happens. But if you don't have anybody around you and you have enemies within like 200 meters and you have a 20-second wait timer on your OP, just wait and place the goddamn OP and then go kill them. It's a lot easier to fight with your squad versus 20 people than fighting alone versus 20 people. Right? Right. So please, if you're trying to play officer and you're not trying to get bashed by people, especially with higher knowledge than you, please play the officer role correctly. And yes, it's a learning process, but it does not take that much of a skill and timer to know that if you're playing officer, you're in charge of placing OPs and spawn points for your squad. Because once you die and you don't have an OP, you're like, oh shit, who the fuck didn't place the OP? Ah, you didn't, because you're the squad leader and you were in charge of that, but you were busy over there fighting 20 people for no fucking reason when you could have placed your OP and then you could have waited for your squad, or then you could have went in a fight because you have no OP and you have a place to spawn if you die. So please place your OPs, and your priority should be straight when you're playing officer or spotter, to place your OPs and then the garrisons. And then you can go fight. Okay? Okay. Another thing that's really important for your squad, let me actually redeploy real quick. Also guys, very thing for new players, once you die, most likely you could wait for medic if you're 10 meters away, but most people tend to respawn. But there's 2 ways to respawn. The first one is to hold F, which takes about 3 to 5 seconds for you to redeploy. Another thing that's way too fast, and a lot of people, when they become about level 80, somebody will tell them. But I'm here to tell you, it's a very quick and cool tip. If you're about to die, or if you're an engineer and you just got your nodes, don't try to fall off something. Just press escape, redeploy. If you're trying to die and it's like offensive and the next point it's like fucking 500 meters away and you're not recon, just redeploy. It's 20 seconds, but it will save you the 5 minutes of you running from like one point to a whole other. So, and if you're already dead and you're on the ground and there's no medic around you, don't hold F, just press escape and press redeploy. It's the same 10-second timer that you will have once you hold F. It's just if when you hold F, it takes you about 3 to 5 seconds to actually die. Or to actually, like, be in the status of redeploying. And this one will take you about 2 seconds, so you save yourself around 5 seconds. It's a very important tip and people need to start doing it. I still haven't fully done it. I still kind of forget about it sometimes, but it's a cool thing. Also, when a commander, an officer, you guys have a cool role, but kind of a boring role, to go and place offensive garrisons. If you grab a supply truck as an officer or commander, your job and duty is to go and build garrisons. You have this whole supply truck, 34 kilometers an hour. You have 2 supply crates, that is 2 garrisons. So what do you need to do? You need to go out of your way. And if there's no garrisons, be the man to do it. Go and I have done this a lot of times, probably, if it's not a good commander. Because what a commander should do, a commander that is really good should be out there placing garrisons every single time. Like all the time, he should be only driving the truck. If the commander by the end of the game, and the game is like an hour, does not have over 4,000 or at least 3K support score, so supply score, that was not a good commander. And if you're an officer that was building Garrys and stuff in OPs, you should have at least about 1,000 support score. So if there's no good Garrys, there's only like 2 Garrys on the map and you're 3 points in, go out of your way and build a fucking Garry. It is not that hard. Also, some officers would like to do this, and I love these officers, and if at the start of the game they go to second point and they place a garrison straight away. This is not a good garrison spot, but I'm just going to demonstrate. At the start of the game, you could just prop a garrison right here, and if you think it's a really bad garrison, you can always go back, dismantle it, and adjust it, because it'll be in the blue. And then if you're an officer, obviously, go out of your way, just like I'm doing right now, and go up here and place the garrison. Or if it's hospice, I'm gonna go probably around here and place the garrison. So just go out of your way. If you get shot at, try to go as far as you can into the enemy territory. If you know there's tanks around, obviously don't go front door to the tanks. Go more out of here. It's gonna take you a lot longer, but you have a much, like, you know, bigger chance of survival. And you can go all the way out here and go, what the fuck, where's my cursor? And go all the way through here and place the garrison. It's a much higher chance of survival to do that than just go front door and hope for the best. Sometimes it is kind of key to go front door because people just won't be expecting it. But most of the time it will not work out that way, and you will get fucked, and you would waste a supply truck which costs 100 fuel node. So keep in mind that if you do die, you basically wasted your commander's abilities for a truck, which it doesn't cost as much and doesn't cost as much for the team, but sometimes it is dramatic if that officer actually placed that garrison down. Because sometimes the garrisons go down, or they're just terrible garrisons placed by someone and that have been discovered, and people are just sitting there with MGs and farming them. So just, you know, obviously keep that in mind. And keep in mind where you're placing your garrisons. So sometimes I see some shit spots. Never place them in an open field. Place them in cover. Like, I'm gonna see if I can place a garrison over here. Like, this is not the best spot, obviously, but it's better than nothing. If we have this hospice position, we have no Garrys. Maybe you have one Garry over here. You'll want your team to have more Garrys, so you could just, you know, go up here, place another Garry right here. And boom, now you have this whole position to go move on onto hospice. Okay, so yeah, this will probably conduct to the end of the video. If you guys enjoy, obviously subscribe to the channel. We just surpassed 200 subscribers. That's fucking amazing. It was Koga. You can also go subscribe to my channel if you want to. And obviously you guys should join us on 2nd AD. The description to the Discord will be linked down below. And yeah, and obviously come join us and play. We're always playing Hella Loose every single day. Like, after this video will be uploaded, I will probably be on the server playing Hella Loose, or on some other server, it doesn't matter, but I'll be on Hella Loose today, where you can find me and play with me. And you can obviously join the unit. We have armor, we have recon, we have infantry, all the stuff you would like in Hella Loose. We have all that, and you can join. Really positive community. And yeah, and comment down below which role you guys will like to see next. I will probably just be going down the line, so next one will probably be Rifleman. I don't want to really address it because it's a very standard role. Not many people play it. It'll probably just be go to Assault. So, or just a different role I would like to select. But obviously comment down below what role you guys would like to see next. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this whole video. If you did, like and subscribe. Join us at 2nd AD. See you boys in the next one. That was Koga. Peace.